Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with the number one real estate investor and good friend of the channel, Mr. Jason Pritchard. How you doing, sir?
I am doing great. Zuber, how are you?
I'm doing very well. So I just saw that you came back from another amazing event at Investor Fuel. So let's give them a shout out, their props for what they do. Talk about the importance of, investing in yourself. Masterminds aren't free.
Yeah.
And kind of what you've took away from this last event. So shout out to the team at Investor Fuel.
Yeah. Shout out to Mike Hambright, the guy that runs and operates Investor Fuel, for putting that on. It's just been an amazing group. This is the second year that I've been involved in it. And I walked away from our quarterly meeting this week just feeling really grateful for not just the relationships that we've been able to develop, but especially now in a market that's shifting and changing, being kind of on the front end of knowing what it's going to take in order to be successful, and understanding and seeing what other people that are operating at a high level across the country are doing. And that was my biggest takeaway. Right. And so we can dive into some of the stuff that they're seeing, but I think that's where the real value is and stuff like that, is you're paying for speed of information and that network. And it was really, really, really valuable week.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting when you look at Masterminds, the ticket price or the admission, or whatever you want to call that, the fee, that really does eliminate a lot of folks that are pretenders.
Correct.
It just does.
Yeah.
So when you pony up, you become a part of this, you are around other doers and achievers from across the country. And I think that's a really interesting thing. One of the things that I try to do on this channel is get other voices.
Yeah.
And particularly voices that disagree with me, I think is a lot of fun. I think in your instance, getting voices from around the country, because some markets are still crazy hot, right? I talk to anybody in Florida, it's like, it's still January. Then you talk to Brian Lebo in Vegas yesterday, like, dude, Michael, the market crashed 40% in a month. What the hell, right?
Yeah.
If you're not an agent that's looking at months of life, which he talks about doing, you're going to go broke. So let's talk about what's going on across the country, because it's not all doom and gloom. Some markets are still great, I'm guessing.
It is, you hit it right on the head, Zuber. I think with real estate, you have to kind of pay less attention to, if you're an active investor, pay less attention to like national headlines and really get focused on what's happening in your market. And across the board, what you said was exactly right. And that was the experience that I took away from this week. It's some markets are flat, some markets they're down, and some guys are not doing great. And other markets, it's just going gangbusters, right?
It's like the party there. It's 1999 all over again.
Yeah. So I feel like everybody is getting out in front of this market shift, and they're making some adjustments. And there's things that were working like a year and a half ago that just aren't working right now. So we're seeing a lot of the guys that have like high volume, low margin, like wholesale operations where they're selling to hedge funds and they're doing different things. A lot of those businesses are being impacted right now because hedge funds stop buying, and there's other stuff that's being, the other stuff that's going on over there that's caused them to slow down a little bit. I have a buddy that is in Florida that has 50 new construction projects currently in the works right now. And he's got a bunch of them already pre-sold. And so it's like, that's the opposite end of it. Right. And so, yeah, there's just a lot of different things that are happening right now. And so I think tightening up on your offers in your buy box, and you talk about this a lot on your channel, I think that's a big thing right now that we're seeing. We're not overpaying for properties, and in making sure that we're being very conservative with the offers that we are putting up.
Yeah, the other thing that I love about what you're doing, and I'm doing later this week, I'm going down to Southern California for an event, is something I've come to talk about is, I think investing specifically in real estate, you have a tool belt.
Yep.
And I retired basically on 2 or 3 tools, right?
Yep.
Buying out of the MLS, raising some private money, buy and hold. That was kind of, those tools for me were well worn. But dude, my tool belt's empty.
Yeah.
The market's changing, right? So something I did after retired is we flipped, right? We flipped 56 properties. Okay, can do that now. So got a new tool. But heading into a new environment where creative financing, sub 2, did have my first mailer that I'm really using hard. It's fun for me. It's exciting, but I just think more and more people need to invest and pivot. And I'm guessing at the Mastermind, you found some new tools to add to your tool belt. Your tool belt probably has, I don't know, 10, 11 tools that mine don't, but I'm sure you're still striving to add more.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I think a lot of the feedback that I got when I was there was people were impressed with the social media and the stuff that in the content and stuff that I've been putting out.
Mhm.
And I've noticed that I have probably one of the lowest marketing budgets per month compared to a lot of the other investors that are there. Just to put things in perspective, we spend around $13,000 a month on our direct to seller marketing. And there's multiple people in that group that are over 6 figures a month on their ad spend. I mean, it's
They're spending
crazy.
$1 million a year.
A year, yes. I mean, it's really, really crazy. And so what I attribute that to, and I think one of the things that was talked about a lot when we were there was just the power of social media and the power of creating brand awareness and making yourself an authority figure in your market, right? And people were asking me like, hey, your social media looks really good. It's dialed, it's this and that. And I said, well, I've been posting on my stories 5 or 6 days a week for 4 years in a row. I said, you do anything for 5 days a week, 4 years in a row, you're going to get better at it. Right. And so
exactly.
I think, I think that was something that was being talked about now because a lot of the opportunities that we're doing, and I know we're going to talk about this later on, we had a great week acquisitions wise last week. And a lot of that was opportunities that were just brought to me. And so I think in a market that's shifting where we're going to see more opportunities kind of coming, especially from agents and other areas that maybe they weren't there, you need to be the person that everybody looks to in your market that says who's buying fixer-uppers in your market, right? And social media is one of the most powerful ways to reach a large number of people, especially in your local area. So we were talking a lot about that, a lot about creative finance. There was a lot of stuff, and I know you talk about this now, with the interest rates going up, there's going to be people that have rates that are locked in just at lower numbers that you can do that too. So there was a lot of discussion on that, and just really just pivoting and getting out in front of the things that are happening right now.
Yeah. Again, for me, what's really important for investors, especially investors who had success the last 2 years, is to kind of look yourself in the mirror and at least at most of the time saying what worked the last 2 years won't work in the future.
Correct.
And if you don't do that, it's about to get hard, I think.
Yeah. I've always prided myself, Zuber, on my willingness and ability to adapt. And I think I took this from corporate America in my corporate years. Like we were talking about compensation plans at this meeting and how we're compensating our acquisitions rep. And one of the guys who runs a very large operations was going through kind of like a rebuild of how their comp plan works, because right now it's not in alignment with what's happening with the market. And I can remember when I was in corporate America, our comp plan changed all the time. It felt like every 12 to 18 months, they're tweaking our commission structure, tweaking our bonus, and the bar was constantly getting raised. And so I was always used to things never being the same. And it's like, we used to make money this way, and now the goalpost got moved here. So now we have to do this, and now we have to do that. And I think I've taken that mentality and I've always applied it towards this business. And, when I've conditioned myself mentally, when things are changing, I actually get excited because I feel like the people that are not willing to adapt are going to get stuck. And I'll be able to find these areas of opportunity where I can get out in front of them quicker and hopefully pick up some market share with the things that we're doing to change.
Would you say it's fair that you shortchanged yourself or maybe elongated the process by not investing in masterminds or getting around knowledgeable people, whether it's a mastermind or getting around other knowledgeable people in other markets? I think a lot of people, for me, example, I focus on getting Fresno. But you can learn something from somebody in Texas and Nashville and just branching out and hearing from other investors. Do you see value in that?
I do see a lot of value. And I think for me, there was kind of this stigma with the guru figure in our space and paying for information and all of this stuff, right? There's all of this negative connotation that comes along with that. And I think that played into it to me too. And I think because I was able to figure a lot of this stuff out just on my own with information that was readily available on the internet, I was like, well, I just figured this stuff out. The information's out there. And in theory that it is, but here was the disconnect for me. You're paying for speed. That's what you're paying for. You know what I mean? Like you're paying for access and speed for the information. Plus you're also kind of paying for the lack of a better word, like the people that are not going to be in the room. You know what I mean? Because when the price tag is higher, because this is not a cheap group to be involved in, you know what I mean? Like it eliminates the people that are not serious about the business. Right. And so, we get into the room with people that are only 100% serious operators. You have to have like a certain level of performance in your business that's vetted in order to be even like, and even to be able to get into the group. So all those things like work towards getting just a bunch of high level people in there. And it's been a great investment for me. I'm on year 2 of it. And, it's been something that's been a game changer for my business. Not just the stuff that you learn, but the relationships and the opportunities that come out of that. It's really valuable.
The last kind of question on this, because I mean, there's so much value and stuff that Investor Fuel does and Mike does with the team. What do you find most interesting? Because one of the things that you'll likely do at a mastermind is at some point you will stand up and bare your soul to the group, right?
Yeah.
By that I mean your business, the good and the bad.
Yep.
That's obviously probably nerve-wracking the first time, but also extremely valuable. But also, you get to sit there when everybody else does it. You probably take away just as much from sitting there when other people are like, ooh, I didn't look at it that way, or ooh, I'm not doing that. The whole experience has got to be just very valuable, I would say.
Yeah. And so there's a couple things that I take away. I think the first thing that I would say is sometimes we get this feeling like sometimes I still deal with like imposter syndrome sometimes, right? Because this is still very new for me. You know what I mean? I'm only 7.5 years into this, right? And our business has kind of gone like this, right? And so it's been a very short time and our business has taken off. And sometimes I'm like, God, dude, I don't even know. Like, I feel like I'm just kind of winging it, and it's great to get around other guys and girls that are very successful and we can share that experience openly and be like, dude, sometimes I feel like, we're just figuring it out as we go along. And you realize that that's what I'm always telling new investors too. You just got to do the next step. That's it. We can't worry about steps A through Z. Just do A, then B, then C, and then we'll figure out what the next ones are after that. And that is the same whether you're just getting into your first house or you're buying your 1,000th rental or you're going from single family to multifamily and you're doing big apartments or whatever. You just do step 1. So it's good to see that getting reaffirmed. And then it's also really refreshing to see how I know, and I can just speak for an Investor Fuel, the guys and girls in that group are very open to share. There is no secrets, anything. And like, you can sit down, and I've had guys sit down with me and just open up their entire business. Here's everything that we do. If you need help, let's get your team on a call with my team and we'll show you like in detail, blah, 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 blah. And that stuff is so powerful and impactful, man. And so it's knowing and realizing and being around those other like-minded people, man, that really moves the needle.
Yeah. So again, Investor Fuel, if you are a serious operator and doing it, I've actually spoke with Mike a couple of different times. They do a lot of great stuff. I know many people in the group. They've been on this channel. So I like what Mike and his team are doing there. Jason, where can people find you if they wanted to reach out and ask some questions to be part of your network?
Yeah, just Instagram or Facebook are probably the easiest ways right now, guys. Just look up Jason Pritchard, my first and last name on either one of those things. Shoot me a message. I will respond to you as soon as I can. And I'm happy to help or be a resource.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.